Hi, Fran Torsen here. I'm excited to share my expired listing letter. This module contains a very powerful expired letter, and we are going to cover that letter page by page. Below this video, you can download a Word document and a PDF guide annotated with reminders of places where you can personalize this letter before you deploy it in your marketplace. If you don't use Microsoft Word, you can open the letter in Google Docs. Do not share this video or the documents. They are yours and yours only. This letter is 7 pages long. I used it with amazing results, and I had a whopping 25 to 33% response rate in any given week. That means 25 to 33% of the recipients of this letter resulted in listing appointments. So, get ready to make some appointments and be ready to list the property when you get there. Let's talk a little bit about this letter. In the past, I only shared this letter with private coaching clients. And despite my encouragement not to change the letter in a material way, sometimes agents opted for a more traditional business letter format and design. Sometimes they put this letter on their letterhead, and sometimes they changed the conversational flow of the letter to make it sound more professional. These types of changes killed the response rate. This letter is not written as a traditional paper business letter. It is written in the format of an online sales letter converted to paper. The writing style may be foreign and odd to people with sensitivity to grammar and traditional writing styles. And I'll tell you, I spent 10 years working as a magazine editor before I went into real estate, and I will tell you very honestly, it was a very tough journey from the Chicago Manual of Style to persuasive copywriting. Now, I'm not going to dive into a treatise about copywriting here. That is beyond the scope of this training. We're going to talk about the letter and what to do, and I'm going to ask you to trust me a little bit. If you find this letter takes you outside your comfort zone, that's okay. Just make sure you have what it takes to get the listing after you land the appointment. Don't schedule more appointments that you can handle in a week. I recommend sending this letter early in the morning to all new expired properties you want to list. If you use a service like RedX or LandVoice or Vulcan or MyPlus Leads, you can download a CSV file to use with the mail merge function of this letter. If you don't know how to use mail merge with Word documents or Google Docs, you can find lots of tutorials on YouTube. Let's take a look at the letter and the steps you need to take to make the letter work for you. You only have to do this once. Once your letter is personalized, you are ready to deploy it in your local marketplace. Let's start with page 1. Do not put this letter on your letterhead. If you have a compelling urge to use your letterhead for this expired campaign, please get over it, okay? Format matters. The big, bold, red headline at the top of the page in 28-point type is the first thing your prospect needs to see. It's the only thing your prospect needs to see when he or she opens the letter. Stay with the red and don't play with the colors. Now, first, personalize the salutation of your letter with the property owner's name. Next, create a mail merge field in the body of the document with the property address. This is formatted in bold type and red text. Of course, you can insert this information manually, letter by letter, if you don't have a CSV file. Page 2 has 3 areas you need to consider. First, this paragraph contains a reference to the number of residential listings in the market. Check your MLS and find out how many residential properties are on the market in your local market and insert your number here. And don't forget to replace Lehigh Valley with the name of your local market. By the way, you may want to create multiple versions of this letter. You can create a version for residential investment properties, get those numbers, and save your letter as Expired Residential Investor and create a separate campaign for that type of listing. There is another paragraph in the story that talks about a personal anecdote, a personal success story about one of my listings. Replace this with a story of your own. Tell your own story here. Talk about something that sets you apart from your competitors and tell it in a story format. Here's an example. Let's say you use a professional photographer. Tell a story. My photographer makes sure he shoots the property exteriors at precisely the right time of day, when the lighting is perfect, and with attention to shadows that get in the way of a good photo. My property at Overlook Terrace had a terrific view, and my photographer returned to catch the most delicious views of the sunset from the rear patio. And his evening shoot gave me the opportunity to showcase an elegant landscape lighting system you would never see in a daylight-only photo shoot. Buyers calling about the property asked over and over, were these images photoshopped, or does the property really have that view? Most agents take their own photos. They are not professional photographers. Professional photography makes a critical difference when you are selling your home. I don't compromise when it comes to this. Okay, so you can tell a similar story about videography or staging. So tell a story, don't go overboard. Pick one story and talk about meaningful results. There's one more thing on this page. The page will break based upon the number of lines in your story. There's a 2-line subhead appearing at the bottom of this page. It's okay if the subhead appears at the bottom of the page, or at the top of the next page, or within the body of the page. Just be sure the 2 lines appear together. Don't break them up. 1 line at the bottom of the page and 1 line at the top of the next does not work. The same rule applies to all the subheads. Make sure you don't break them up, when the page falls at a subhead. If you have to, just advance the text until the subhead appears at the top of the next page. A little bit of white space at the bottom of a page isn't going to hurt you. Don't worry about it. Now I want you to take a look at 2 areas on page 3. The first block of text talks about specific marketing efforts, flyers, a process to hand deliver flyers to agents, and a feedback system. Now make sure you customize this area to reflect your marketing system, and if you don't hand deliver flyers, remove that line from the letter. No big deal. The second area tells a story that may work for you if you have been in real estate for more than a couple of years, and you can tweak this with your personal anecdotes. It's about helping other agents and not stealing the listing commission. It's about building rapport within the marketplace. So if you can tweak this to make it sound like you or one of your personal stories, that would be great. Page 4 is okay. Please proofread the letter as you go along. I hope there are no typos, and please let me know if you find any typos in the document. Page 5 has 2 areas you must customize. One with your telephone number and one with your name. Page 6 has another area where you insert your telephone number. And the final page needs your telephone number and your signature. You may want to include more URLs under your name, maybe your website, a landing page, your Facebook business page URL. I think the best idea is to keep it simple, let the letter work for you, and wait for your phone to ring. Here are just a few more tips after you print out your letters. Use a plain envelope. White envelopes are great. Handwrite the address, and in the return address area, use address only, not your company name. Insert your business card, and insert something else you may have on hand. If you have promotional pens or calendars or something like that, insert it in the envelope. Lumpy letters always get opened. and use big, colorful, fun stamps. No postage meter stamps, no boring stamps. You know, there's a new Fred Rogers, you know, Mr. Rogers in the neighborhood stamp. Get a bunch of really, really nice stamps. Weigh the envelope so you know exactly how much first class postage will be required, and and dress it up and just make it fun. Make it fun and go for it. Remember, be ready when you make that appointment to get that listing. Make sure you have everything in hand. We'll be talking about that in other training videos.